So as we've just heard from our correspondent, the levels of radiation in some spots 80 kilometers away from the plant are 1,000 times higher than normal. Are people there, are they still at risk, do you think?
Well, I think that question, in a way, presupposes the answer, because as we know from the Bear 7 report put out by the National Academy of Sciences back in 2005, there is no such thing as a safe level of radiation exposure, that any level of radiation exposure increases the risk of cancer. And however negligible that risk may be with any particular person on any particular day at any particular spot, when it's averaged out over a large population like is living in the Fukushima region, that unfortunately means there will be, over time, an increase in cancer rates there. And it's really just a question of how many. And at this point, we obviously can't say, because we don't even at this point know the extent of the scope of the radiation danger, but as that report reveals, it's obviously much higher than has been previously supposed.
Indeed, much higher than has been reported. But when you're talking about issues of cancer, let's talk about the chemical of strontium. A high concentration of strontium detected in the sea and groundwater near the Fukushima plant. What kind of dangers does it pose in comparison to the leaks that we are already aware of?
Well, that's a good question, and I think one of the big issues here is simply the amount of radioactive water that already exists. So any new leaks of any kind are going to be an incredible burden on the efforts that are already underway to try to clean up the water or decontaminate it, because they are now running out of space to actually store the contaminated water in the Fukushima, in the immediate vicinity of the plant. And I believe within 2 weeks they're actually going to run out of space. So they're trying to get a system online for treating the water, but apparently the test for that is going to be pushed back another few days. It's already been pushed back from last Friday, and it's maybe not scheduled to start until Tuesday or Wednesday. So at this point, it's becoming a very grim situation, and any new leaks, I think, will only burden the efforts that are already underway to try to decontaminate the incredible 1,200 tons of contaminated water that are already seeping out per day from that horrible tragedy.
Now, as you mentioned, the issue of running out of space, where to store contaminated water and other radioactive materials. 3 months into the crisis, thousands of evacuees are still stuck in crowded temporary shelters. What does the immediate future look like for them at this point?
Well, unfortunately, it's just about as bleak as it's been at any point in the past 3 months. Certainly 3 months in, still living in emergency shelters, and many of them have been relocated several times now, as the schools and places where they were originally staying opened for the new school year back in April, and they were kicked out of various gyms and other facilities that they were using at that time. So it's really quite a grim situation for those who are still evacuees. But even the people who do actually have homes and residences in the area and are in somewhat of a stable condition, they're still unfortunately going to be suffering the effects of this for a long time, as they're dealing with radiation. And the media is telling people here that it's just a question of wearing long sleeves and trying to stay out of the rain if possible. But it's going to be quite a difference to their daily lives, I would imagine.
Certainly does seem to sound that the media there could be downplaying the severity of this ongoing tragedy. But you mentioned it being a grim situation. You're in Japan right now. I mean, is there any sense of optimism among the people that an end to the crisis could be approaching?
I don't think so. I don't think optimism would be the right word. I think from what I've seen, it's more of a question of, well, we'll have to put up with this too. So people are beginning to adjust their lives and routines, and we see that in all sorts of different aspects of daily life here. But one of them is the introduction of a new phenomenon called super cool biz, where in an effort to save air conditioning, because obviously there's a lot less electricity available for the Tokyo area, businesses are now converting to very casual wear. They're changing business hours to try to accommodate the more daylight savings and that sort of thing. So there is just everyday types of shifts in people's schedules and routines that are being made, and I think people are just putting up with it. And as far as seeing an end to this or seeing some sort of hope in this, I just don't see that at this point.
So you say not a sense of optimism among the people there in Japan, but certainly some lifestyle changes being made to adjust. James Corbett, journalist and editor of CorbettReport.com. Thank you.